Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello, welcome. So today we're going back to our movie reviews, and this time we watch Death on the Nile, a 2022 mystery film that follows our detective Poirot.
Yeah, it's based on the 1937 novel of the same name by Agatha Christie, and it serves as a sequel to the last Poirot movie we watched, which was Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, and I watched those out of order, but it doesn't really matter because they're standalone, but they also, kind of act as sequels. So this was also I guess you would say a reboot of a 1978 film of the same name. So all of these have been, or I should say both of these have been kind of redos of previous films that were based on those novels.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, what did you think of this one?
Okay, so, and I think I may have talked about it on the podcast before as maybe a current viewing, but I liked it. I like the intrigue of the different settings, the travel kind of aspect of it. I like detective genre films, and books and stuff like that. So I thought it was good. It kept my interest and it was entertaining. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a decent film. I thought the beginning of it was a bit slow, like the introduction phase of the mystery. I felt like they could have passed over that some more, and there were two scenes in the beginning that I felt were kind of superfluous, but otherwise, it's a solid film, especially once the actual murder mystery part of it kicked in. Once someone died and you have to find out everything.
Yeah. I like the interrogation scenes.
Yeah.
For both of those movies. Yeah, I thought those were good and just dramatic and interesting. And tell me which scenes you thought were superfluous.
The first two, literally the first two.
Okay, so in the club, the London club.
Well, the first one is the scene in World War One.
Oh.
I guess there's two scenes there, but the World War One flashback with Poirot in the trenches, and then the scene with them in the club. I get, later it comes back that this was set up for the central thing of the film, but I felt like it went on a little bit too long, and it was kind of what are we doing here?
Yeah. I can agree with that. I mean, I liked the scene, but I think you're right. It kind of went on a little bit too long. And, Armie Hammer's character, which is it Simon? Simon?
Oh, I think
is his name. Anyway, Armie Hammer. So to me, Armie Hammer, I've seen him in a few things. And this is, before the controversy about his character, his personal real life character. But I've seen him in a few things, and he always comes across as really fake, the characters he plays, And so I'm always automatically what's his angle in a movie, So I always have doubt about him right off the bat just because of the characters he plays, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it's his style of acting. I don't know what it is, but I'm not automatically trusting of any of his characters.
Wow, okay, so you were on to him the whole time?
Yeah, I was on him the whole time, but and I guess we'll get into, the plot, but the scandal of him marrying the different person was what? Okay, what a turd. But anyway, so that was automatically I'm kind of distrustful of him. So, but I get what you're saying about the World War One. Wait, World War II? World War
No, it was World War One. World War II has not happened yet because this takes place in 1937.
1937, yes. The World War One flashback. Yeah, it's a little bit I kind of see how it adds to the depth of Poirot's character, but at the same time, it's a little bit extra, Yeah. Yeah. Which we kind of talked about that in Murder on the Orient Express. We kind of talked about the same thing where it's okay, a little bit too much into the past for him in particular.
at least it's relevant in this movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
In the last one,
yeah.
there's just kind of a few scenes that don't amount to anything. Like, at
Yeah.
least, you know, he has, like, a one-to-one with a character about love.
Yeah.
Actually, multiple times.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does come up.
It's more relevant here, yeah. For sure.
But yeah, unlike the last one, I didn't know where this one was going. So I was just kind of like, who's it gonna be?
Well, the funny thing is, so I had watched it before, obviously, when I went over it
Yes.
on my current viewings. But I didn't remember. Like, I was like, wait, what was the angle? What was happening? So, like, it's funny how quickly I forget, like, what exactly is going on. And even when you're watching it for the first time, like, you know there's a twist, right? And you're, like, looking for it the whole time. But, yeah, it's just one of those interesting things.
Yeah, so I guess let's get into the plot synopsis.
Sure.
Alright, so we open, like I said, with the World War I flashback, where Poirot does a thing and saves his company. It's really not important, but he ends up getting exploded because his captain walks into a tripwire explosion. And he's there in the hospital with his, they were engaged, not married, right? Do I have that correctly?
I think so. I think that's right.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. This is all just a flashback. And then we cut to a London club in 1937 where Poirot is ordering dessert and watching a blues singer, Salome Otterborn. And during this, there is this whole exchange, kind of love triangle thing between, I gotta look up the names.
Mm-hmm. Is it Lynette? Lene?
Yeah, Lynette Ridgway, Simon Doyle, and
Jackie Belafort.
Yes, Jackie Belafort. Where Jackie and Simon are to be married, but she introduces him to her friend Lynette, and it seems like it's love at first sight, and they're all like into each other. And then we cut to 6 weeks later, where Poirot is at Egypt, chilling under the pyramids.
As one does.
Yeah, where he meets his friend Book. I can't pronounce friend.
Is it Book?
I think
it's Book.
From the last movie, who, if you remember, was the whatever for the Orient Express.
Yeah, like the son of the
owner or whatever.
Yeah,
and
something.
He just had like a
do-nothing
job for it.
Yeah.
But he is there with his mother, who is painting, and Poirot gets invited by Book to the wedding of one Lynette and Simon, which, you know, you look at the previous scene, it turns out the weird little love at first sight did happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of other people there. We kind of get introduced to some of them. By the way, I like the scene where Book's like explaining to
Yes.
Poirot, everybody, like, this is this person, this is their problem.
Yeah.
But we have... Shoot, I don't remember who and all was there.
It was like... Yeah, I'm gonna have to read that. So it was like, okay, so it was Lynette's
the maid.
Yeah. Louise. Salome had her niece and also manager.
Yes, she was performing for it.
Yes, so
and
Rosalie.
Apparently they were friends, her and the niece.
Yeah, and Lynette's godmother, Marie von Schuler, with her nurse, Mrs. Bowers.
Yes.
Which they also seem like lovers. Lynette's financial manager and cousin, Andrew.
Yes.
Then we have Dr. Linus Windlesham, which is Lynette's former fiance.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think that's
everybody, right?
I think that's everybody. Yeah, there's always an ensemble in these types of, you know, movies, and so there's like all these characters that you like have to keep straight.
Yeah, and they first get introduced at this wedding, and you know, everything's going fine. They're celebrating, and then Jackie shows up.
Jackie, the scorned ex-fiance.
Yes, and it's like a whole deal. She shows up to crash their wedding.
Mm-hmm.
They retreat. later, they come up to, the now husband and wife come up to Poirot and ask him for his help because they're afraid Jackie's gonna try something, particularly, Lynette. And she, like, they want his assistance, because she's been following them. And he says, well, there's been no crime, so I can't do anything. But, instead, he goes and talks to her, and she, like, basically threatens to kill them. She's carrying a gun. Poirot tries to talk her out of doing this, but, seems unsuccessful. So he goes and tells them, the newlyweds, hey, this is what she's doing. And Poirot suggests they call it off, or call off their honeymoon, and instead, just go home. And Lynette wants to do that, but, Simon does not. So, instead, they decide, oh, well, let's get on a cruise ship,
Very safe.
Yeah. They board this cruise ship, all the guests are there, and they end up, nothing much happens in this part, right?
Yeah, is it the first stop or before they get on the cruise ship that they're by, all those, the ruins with the columns and stuff?
Yeah, then they get on the cruise ship to go there.
Okay.
Yeah. And they go there, and they go to this, ancient Egyptian tomb, and they, get off the boat to do all that. Then, Poirot has a conversation with Book about, how he's dating the niece of the singer, but his mother doesn't approve.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a whole thing for him. Yeah, they're exploring these ruins, and the newlyweds, go off somewhere, and a boulder falls down on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of suspicious. They think someone could have done that. And when they return, they also find out Jackie has boarded the cruise ship.
Which is hilarious, because she does not care.
Yeah, I think at this point, at some point, Lynette has a conversation with Poirot saying she doesn't trust any of her guests. So, again, the, afraid of being murdered and what's Poirot to, watch out for them.
So what's notable here is also that Jackie is, an heiress, so she's, rich, and she says, every single one of these people basically has a reason to try to get after her. So
yeah,
that's what makes it a little bit more interesting. Everyone's a suspect.
Yes, which is typical for a lot of detective fiction.
Right.
It's more fun that way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, so that happens. There's a confrontation at night with Jackie on there, and then Rosalie and Simon are arguing with her. Rosalie retires to bed, and then Simon and Jackie end up arguing, during which Jackie shoots Simon in the knee.
Ouch.
And this is a whole big deal. She runs off, and the people involved that were in the room run off to go get the doctor and nurse, the nurse for Jackie and the doctor for Simon. And, this is a whole to-do. And afterwards, everybody wakes up, and Lynette has been murdered.
Yep.
And that's our first murder of this film.
Yep, second shooting, first murder.
Yeah, after half the movie to get to this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And Poirot starts.
And also her necklace. Remember, she had this
Yes, but they don't find that till a little
necklace.
bit after.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Poirot begins the investigation, but yes, the necklace does come up later.
Okay.
Yeah, but Poirot starts his investigation. I believe that's the case, right? That the necklace was
I think the maid or somebody, not the maid. Well, I guess it's the maid.
Yeah, well, I think he said she was in charge of the necklace. What's his face? Simon says it couldn't be her. She was in charge of the necklace, and he's like, "Where is this necklace now?" And then they find out it's stolen.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Poirot begins investigating. He looks at the body. He starts conducting interviews. The first person he interviews is. He first finds out if Jackie did it, and it turns out no, she was on dosed with morphine the whole night. It couldn't have been her.
Mm-hmm.
So next is to look at the maid, and the maid is says something kind of suspicious, where she's like, "I might have seen something," basically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we go on with that. We find out the necklace is stolen. and that's like a whole to-do. He continues with various investigations, and, he's interviewing people, he's, like, looking for things. At some point, they find the murder weapon, because they've been looking at the seabed, because, obviously it was tossed overboard.
Mm-hmm.
And find the murder weapon. It was with a scarf, which has bullet holes in it, which was used to suppress the noise. The gunshot was done with a .22, which is the caliber of bullet that the gun that Jackie had.
Mm-hmm.
And the gun went missing after the whole to-do.
And wasn't the handkerchief it was in, wasn't that the one that Simon used on his leg?
Well, we don't know that yet.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't come up yet.
Oh, okay. I'm forgetting the sequence.
I believe so. I believe that doesn't come up yet. But that does come up later. But, I don't know. Maybe that did come up earlier and I just don't remember.
Yeah, well, I think we see him using the handkerchief on his leg when he got shot, but
yes,
maybe not.
we do.
Okay.
But I don't remember if the handkerchief coming up was,
if
like, noted upon when they, like, get it back from
the
river.
Yeah.
But yeah, during this, he's interrogating people, each of who could have motive. The cousin has been stealing from her and kind of tried to, like, push her into signing some bad deals.
Yeah.
So, he has motive for maybe wanting to kill her because she might have found out. The maid, it turns out Lynette had broken off her engagement. So, she could have been upset about that. The doctor was her former fiancé, so he could have been upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
Does he interview Book's mother? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember
what her motive was. Either way,
yeah.
He interviews the what's her name? Van Schuler? How do you pronounce that?
It was Van Schuler, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Lynette's godmother,
And her nurse.
Yes, and her nurse. And the nurse used to be rich, but is now no longer because of, directly because of Lynette's family.
Mm-hmm.
So, she could hold a grudge there. I don't remember Van Schuyler's, what her motive would have been.
I don't either.
Other than, I guess she's a communist, and she does make a mention of her being the first to get put to death.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
I don't remember that.
But, yeah. And then the singer has a gun, and also they have reason to be, upset at her because she was racist.
I don't remember. Oh, I was going to say, I don't remember their reasoning.
Yeah, well, and it's also, she keeps a gun with her that's the same caliber bullet that was used to, kill. So, it's she had a weapon that could have done it.
Right.
And, let's see, so that happens. Eventually, Poirot reveals, he was not in Egypt on vacation. He was actually hired by, Book's mother to investigate, Book's girlfriend, Rosalie. And he has this scene where he's talking to them, and he's like, okay, let me reveal why I'm really here. And he has this whole scene where he's like, actually, I think she's good.
Yeah.
And, of course, this upsets Rosalie, because people don't like being investigated generally. She tells him off.
Yeah.
And, he goes to try to apologize to her, and while they're doing this, they find the body of the maid caught in the wheels. So she had been killed and dumped overboard. So now there's a second murder. This time she was killed with a short knife. And while they're doing the autopsy, the cousin, accuses the doctor of being the murderer. And this starts them fighting with each other. Meanwhile, Poirot's just sitting there, finds that, deduces because of the blood spatter that someone else was there to see it. And the reason the maid died was because of her odd statement earlier, she knew, she saw the killer.
She saw.
And then tried to, get payment for it. Tried to blackmail the killer.
Blackmail, yeah.
Yeah, so they're tying up loose ends by killing her.
And then they interrogate Buke.
Yeah, well, does that happen? Because Right.
Yeah, it was after, I think it was after they found Louise.
Yeah, so, they find the maid. There's this whole argument going on or fight, and then eventually, someone yells at Poirot, like, you let another person die. You need to end this. And he's like, I need one more interview. And he, interrogates Book, because turns out Book had stolen the, diamond, which, actually his mother finds in her jewelry box. It's like, someone planted this here, and, it's all suspicious and stuff. But he had stolen that because he wants freedom from his mother, because otherwise he needs their permission to marry because he doesn't have his own source of income. But if he stole the diamond and sold it, then he could run off with Rosalie.
Mm-hmm. But then, like, he panicked and...
Yeah, panicked and hid it
in
on
his
his mother.
mother's.
But he also witnessed the second murder of the maid and knows who did it, but didn't say anything because if he did, he would have to admit that he stole the diamond.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do that. And Poirot eventually coaxes this out of him, and just before he is about to say who did it, he gets shot by the killer.
Yeah. And is killed.
Yeah, there's this whole chase sequence where Poirot chases the killer, but only finds the gun. And yeah, so everybody's upset again. And he gets them all into this, like, central room, locks them in there, and does his whole, reveal scene. Where he's like, I know who did it. It was actually two killers. Simon killed the first, killed Lynette, which turns out the gun that shot him fired blanks. Jackie fired a blank at him, and while everybody was gone and he was left alone, he grabs the gun, runs to Lynette's room, kills her, runs back, and then shoots himself in the leg the second time, and that's the time he used the scarf. And he put another bullet back in, so it looked like the gun only fired twice. Nobody was suspicious of him because he had been shot, and he, technically had an alibi. And also, it was his wife. And it turns out he did it because, he was actually still in love with Jackie. They just had a plan to, murder Lynette and get all of her money.
Mm-hmm.
And she killed the other two people, because she found, after, the maid tried to blackmail Simon, he tells Jackie about it, and she ends up killing the maid.
Yep.
And she realizes Book had seen her do this, and follows into the interrogation and shoots him before he can say who did it.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a standoff where she pulls out her gun, at first she's like, you can't prove it. Then Poirot's like, well, the handkerchief you used on your leg initially, if it was blood when we got it out of the Nile, it would have been a brown color, but it was paint, so it's a pink color.
Yeah.
So you faked the first shot, and then she pulls out her gun, and there's this, like, brief standoff. But then she ends up kissing Simon and shooting him in the back, which ends up killing, goes through him and into her and kills both of them.
Yeah.
And then they end. Oh yeah, also Simon drugged Poirot's champagne.
Yes.
During this.
Yeah, we find that out. And then at the same time, Poirot is, having feelings for Salome. And when they get off of the boat...
Well, he has a whole scene with everybody off of the boat.
Yeah.
He talks to all of them.
But he is unable to, tell Salome, how he likes her. But we clearly see it.
Yeah, they're flirting the whole time.
Yeah, they're flirting the whole time. But I guess it's just, too shocking of a trip and, whatever.
Yeah, he's also sad because Book died, was his friend.
Yeah, that's his friend. I was sad that Book died too, because he was my favorite character. But then at the end, they show, 6 months later, and they show Poirot, going into a club to watch Salome.
Yep.
So it's kind of reconnecting with her.
That scene also felt kind of pointless, but...
I thought it was cute. I actually like that scene. Yeah. So I thought I liked it. I liked the whole Egyptian setting backdrop. I liked the London jazz scene. I liked that Salome and her niece were part of the story. I thought that was kind of cool. The whole closed environment detective thing.
Yeah,
you know,
of
is
course.
always good on a
Classic.
ship. Yeah, like I like the cruise ship idea. And the only thing I was really like sad about was that Buke died. Because I was like, no, I thought he was gonna like continue to be like Poirot's little sidekick, like in the next movie, you know? So didn't realize that wasn't gonna be the case.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah. I feel like I like this one a bit better than the last one just because of like where Murder on the Orient Express goes.
Yeah.
I like the more conventional sort of detective story.
Yeah, I do too. I definitely like this one better. And I think I like, I never liked the chase scenes that much.
No, that felt completely superfluous, but there was less here than in the last one, too.
Yes, it was definitely less here than in the Orient Express one. So it was much better. I thought the characters were a little more interesting in this one too than the last one. So I don't know, I just liked it better.
Yeah, and it's a good little like plot they've cooked up. The two villains. And they like accounted for so much and they had this whole like thing planned out.
Right. I loved Jackie's like, scorned lover character. Like I just thought like, oh my gosh, as soon as you see her like on the ship, you're like, oh, we got a Petty Betty here. Like she's like haunting them, like won't leave them alone. Which I thought was like really kind of funny because, it had only been 6 weeks since, Simon was introduced to Lynette and then they are getting married and like Jackie was like Lynette's childhood friend and she like basically like stole her fiance. So I love that like Jackie played that character. And Emma McKay is the actress who played that character. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah. Of course, she was faking the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then she ends up killing them, killing both of them, Simon and herself at the same time, which was dramatic ending.
Yeah, I thought that was, like I said, a neat plot. So
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna pretend that you stole my fiance.
Yeah.
So I can run away with your money.
But then you're like, but when she killed both of them, I'm like, what was the point? What was the point of all of this? You're just gonna kill yourself.
Well, she didn't think they were gonna get caught.
Well, it's so silly though. Like
she got caught.
And like,
well, they're not getting the money now.
Don't take that way. Don't take that way out. Like, go to prison and then plot your escape. Yeah. But I was kind of like, y'all didn't think this through, guys.
They did. They just didn't expect Poirot to be there.
Well, the whole point is, if Poirot was there, they should have abandoned their plan. Like,
nah, you go through it with it anyways.
No way. Like, like, he's the, what does he say? Like, the foremost detective on the planet.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah, I like the little, like, dressing down he gets by Rosalie.
Yeah.
When, like, he reveals he's been, like, investigating her.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a neat little, like, thing to do with your eccentric detective character.
Yeah,
to have,
I like that.
Have, like, a character be like, actually, you suck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fun little, scene.
I liked her character, too, yeah. I thought that was good. But yeah, I mean, how terrible. Like, Jackie's a terrible friend, first of all. Like, get your money your own way, like, by your own work, not by trying to.
By your own work. That's a lot. It's a pretty sophisticated plot.
Not, like, backstabbing your best friend and, like, I mean, this was a long
to be
time.
fair, her best friend thought she was backstabbing her. So, clearly their friendship was never good.
Yeah, but wait, why did she think she was backstabbing her, though?
Because she thought she was stealing her fiancé from her.
Wait, I thought that was all part of the plan, though.
That was, but Lynette didn't know that. Lynette thought she was...
No, I know what you mean. I thought you meant Jackie felt like Lynette was backstabbing her.
What I'm saying is that, like, like, that was part of her plan, but, like, it also proves that Lynette was willing to do this,
Well, yeah, that's true. Very true.
Like, ostensibly, if Lynette wasn't, playing Miss Steal Your Man, this whole plot never would have worked.
That's true. So all of these characters are deeply flawed. And yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a decent film.
Yeah.
There's some good little banter moments between the characters and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thought it was good. And I like the little side quest of Poirot and Salome. I thought that was better than the last movie where he's just pining for his lost love. So I thought that was a good little side story.
Yeah, also several treatises on the nature of love in this film. Multiple characters go off about what love is.
They really do.
That's a major theme of this.
Yeah.
It's fairly interesting. I don't know. Not really relevant to the plot per se. It just comes up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. There were several little love stories going on here.
Yeah, Jackie's all I know he's still in love with me and I can't just give up on that.
Yeah.
That's why she's ostensibly stalking them. Poirot's whole thing about how he used to be in love and he can't be anymore.
Yeah.
Book's whole thing with his mother about how, he's love's all this, and his mom having this whole screen where she's multiple times is love is garbage.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
The whole thing when they're in the ruins and there's this love poem and they're talking about that.
Yeah. And then you have, of course, the godmother and her nurse.
Yeah.
That was another little segment of that.
Yeah, she's not actually her nurse.
Yeah, and then you have the Lynette's ex-fiance, the doctor, where he's kind of seen as this kind of forlorn lover.
Yeah. His whole thing was everybody thought it was just for status, just because they're both rich, landed people. So it's just kind of a, business relationship, but he said he was actually in love with her, so.
Yeah, yeah. You have several little, side plots, I guess, or character development.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, also the maid wanting to get married.
Oh, yeah.
And her breaking it off, Lynette.
Yeah. I mean, tons.
Yeah, it's just kind of
But yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, neat theme to weave in there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe for me that's what made it a little more interesting than the Orient Express one.
Yeah, well, these actors do a good job going on their little,
Yeah.
Let me espouse to you what I believe about love.
Yeah, exactly. Weave it into the plot there.
But yeah, so. Oh, there's some CGI shots. I remember that's something we brought up in the last movie.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought were bad in this one. Just anytime they go under the water, there's several of those, where they're deliberately, trying to show off. Look.
Yeah.
We did some underwater shots, and I thought those looked bad.
They did.
Although I will say, there's a little scene, where they pan over to show, the Nile, and they go on one of the banks, and a crocodile eats a bird.
Yeah.
And I thought that was neat.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. Yeah. Love the, circle of life on the Nile.
Yeah, there's also some, there's some decent cinematography,
There is.
Nice choice of framing.
I thought the production value was good, and yeah, definitely the CGI. I can't believe I didn't even mention that, but...
It wasn't as bad as the last movie, I don't think.
No, yeah. Well, yeah.
It's a lot less, I think they do it less.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Or at least the, times they do it, because I'm sure the overhead shots are somewhat, some of the, overhead shots have to be CGI. Because, it's 1930s cities.
Yeah,
but those
exactly.
didn't look that bad, and, yeah, they used it a bit more sparingly, I feel like, in this film.
I think so. And it kept it, entertaining, I think. So, it served its purpose.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, overall, solid detective story,
Yeah, I will say, the one scene at the beginning where Poirot's chilling by the pyramids and, Buke is, I don't know, flying a kite, down a pyramid or something silly. I thought that was really goofy.
Yeah. Also, he quoted Casablanca, of all the pyramids in all the world.
Yeah, yeah. But that, yeah, like that CGI was like super goofy, so. But, you know, it's all good in the hood.
Yeah, that whole scene's kind of goofy, but yeah, anyways.
Yeah. Anyways. So, yeah, overall, I liked it. I thought it was a good detective, good sequel to Orient Express, and I would watch it again, and I did watch it again, so
Yep.
there you go.
I kind of want to watch the like 70s movies of these, like those adaptations.
I know. I wonder what those are all about.
We got to do those for the podcast sometime.
Yeah. Research. Yeah, exactly. And then there's a third one, The Haunting in Venice.
Yeah, which I guess we'll do that at some point.
We're gonna have to, because now I'm invested, so, you know?
Yep.
But, alright. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Alright, well, that has been Beach View, our podcast about all sorts of things and stuff, and join us next time. Bye!
Bye!